And good morning. Today we are going to talk about estimating sums and differences of mixed numbers. So your I can statement today is I can estimate sums and differences of mixed numbers. A mixed number is a number, a whole number with a fraction attached to it. That's a mixed number. So all of these numbers right here are mixed numbers because they have a whole number. So in this case 2 with a fraction attached to it. In this case 1/4. That's what a mixed number is. Your problem today says Jamila's mom wants to make a size 10 dress and jacket. About how many yards of fabric does she need? So let's start with our cubing strategy. Like always, we're going to circle any key numbers. So size 10 dress, that's going to be important to know. And with our diagram down here, since we don't have key numbers in the actual problem itself, we have to use our diagram that's given to us. So we know that she wants to make a size 10 dress. So we're going to go down to this diagram in a minute to figure out how many yards of fabric she'll need. So we're circling key numbers in the problem. We are underlining the question, boxing any keywords. So we have about, that tells us we're estimating and we're not looking for an exact number. Yards gives us our measurement. And I think that would be it. We're going to eliminate anything we don't need. I'm glad Jamila's mom is making her some nice things, but we don't really care. And then we're going to solve. So like I said, we have to use our data box down here that's provided to us because the only key number that the problem gives to us is size 10 dress. So the question asked about how many yards of fabric does she need to make a size 10 dress and jacket. So I have a dress and jacket here, and I have size 10 and size 14 up at the top. Well, I know she's not going to need size 14 stuff, so I'm just going to cross that column out right now and look at just these two mixed numbers that were given to me, because I know she needs a size 10 from the problem and a dress and a jacket, which are given to us. So we need to know about how much fabric she's going to need. So in order to make a size 10 dress, she needs about 2 1/4 yards, and a jacket, she needs 1 5/8 yards. But we need the total amount of fabric she'll need in all. So in all, we know usually tells us that we need to add. So we're going to estimate the sum of these two numbers. So 2 1/4, which is the amount of fabric needed for a size 10 dress, plus 1 5/8, which is the amount of fabric needed for a size 10 jacket. Now, remember, I can't stress this enough. We are estimating. We are estimating about how many yards does she need. We don't need the exact amount. So you're not adding these two fractions together just like this. You're changing them into an easier number to work with. So if you were looking at 2 1/4, I'm going to switch my pen color. If you were looking at 2 1/4, you would know 2 is your whole number, but then let's look at the fraction, 1/4. Is 1/4 closer to 0? Is it closer to 1/2? Or is it closer to 3, meaning a whole, adding another whole? If I'm looking for an easier number to work with, I'm going to say that 1/4 is closest to 0, and this 2 1/4 would just become 2. Okay? I would just switch it over to 2 because if I'm looking at a number line of fourths, I would know that this is 0, this is 1/4, this is 1/2, this is 3/4, and this is 1 whole. 3/4, yikes, 1/2, or 2/4, and this would be 1/4. So you could say either, you could say that 1/4 is closer to 1/2, or you could say it's closer to 0 because it's equal distance between it. But to make it easier to work with, I'm just going to say it's closer to 0 and estimate this 2 1/4 to 2. Now I'm going to look at my 1 5/8 and say, okay, well, I know 1. 1 is going to stay the same, but 5/8. Is 5/8 closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole? Well, here's 0. Here's 1, and then here's my eighths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then this would be 8/8. 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 5/8 right here. And you could argue that 5/8 is closer to 1/2, which is this. Or you could say that it's closer to 1. It's up to you, whatever you think is going to be easier to work with. So I'll do both. I'll say that it's closest to 1/2, so 1 1/2. Or you can say that 1 5/8 is closer to 2. Up to you. Remember, we're estimating. We're not looking for an exact number, so it's whatever is easier for you to work with. You can say that 1 5/8 is closer to 1 1/2, estimating, or 1 5/8 is closer to 2, estimating. I think that either of these are pretty easy to add up then. So I have 2 plus 1 1/2 would be 2 plus 1 is 3. And then I tack on my 1/2. So I know that I would need about ABT, I'm going to say stands for about. That doesn't even look like a B, sorry. About 3.5 yards. Or if I chose to use 2 as my estimate, I would take 2, I'm going to put or here, or 2 plus 2 equals 4 yards. We know we need about 4 yards. So either answer would be acceptable depending on how you want to do it. We're just estimating. We're making the numbers easier to work with. We're not looking for common denominators yet. We're just trying to make the answer easier to work with. So either of these would be acceptable, and we would want to put our unit in here, which is yards. So whether or not you chose to do 2 yards for the dress and 2 yards for the jacket, or 2 yards for the dress and then 1 1/2 yards for the jacket, it didn't matter. Both answers would be acceptable because remember, we are estimating sums and differences of mixed numbers.